bum. Ah, my God. Waking up from a nap. God damn. Oh. Oh my God, stop me. Oh, fucking Christ. God damn. Jesus. Cool. A little chilly. Oh my God. What the hell? Stop yawning. Jesus. There we go. And done so quick. There we go. Cool. Oh my God, wake up. Buh. Boo. Jesus. Enough of your little siesta. Oh, I need to get you a food bowl. And your water bowl in here, bro. Let me do that. Come on. Come on, goof. Come on. There you go. There you go. Good pretty boy. What's up, Zukoff? What? What's up, baby? Sweet little thing. I know what will wake me up. Let's get the good stuff right here. Yeah. So set bozoed up for the night. Go. Goofy baby. Alright. There we go. This bad boy is smoked up. Come on. Wake the brain up. Even though you're probably going to do the exact opposite of what you do. There we go. Okay. Do this real quick. Pull a couple things to check out. There we go. Okay. This situation is annoying. There we go. Dealt with that. Sweet, easy peasy. Cool. Alright. Oh, yeah. Elon Musk face plants. Shares a dumb meme and gets owned by it. Face plants.
Incredible creative.
How so?
And it got torn apart.
I guess to be fair, like, what type of fucking tweets does Elon Musk do that aren't face planty?
Break down how stupid this is. And this isn't really a discussion about Elon Musk as much as it's about this idea that the Democratic Party has moved left. When nothing at all indicates that. But let's start with, transition. Let's start with his tweet here, showing year 2008. There he is, just left of center. And then 2012. Apparently in 2012, the left moved really far left. While he stays...
Oh my god, this is so stupid. He's like, look at me, I'm the enlightened centrist, bro. But because of that, like, he's now trying to, he's saying, oh, I didn't make myself right-wing. The left did because they went too far. Oh my god. Like, this isn't even... Jesus Christ. Like, where he is on, like, the left to right scale in 2021, you know, it's like, that's correct, but, like, where the actual left is and where the right is probably, like, the 2008 one. Like, that's actually more accurate. While the center is probably, like, just a tad over to the left of where Elon Musk would be.
One, the woke progressive is calling somebody a bigot, apparently, and now Elon Musk is to the right of the center. So he's trying to claim here, the left has moved so far left. Ah, yes, all the crazy left-wing things that have happened since 2012, like Medicare for all. No. Higher wages. No.
Such woke ideas. I mean, honestly, there's like a lot of shit since 2012. Like, I mean, you could literally name anything. Like, oh, like, what happened since 2012? Oh, fucking, yeah, like, Medicare for All's been basically going on since forever. So, I mean, that's always been happening. Yeah, like, you know, the demands for higher wage increases, that's always been constant. Because they've been stagnant since the fucking 70s. Like, there's a lot of fucking things where people are like, yeah, I mean, these kind of issues are important. Like, you know, like, student loan debt, fucking, you know, like, better affordability and access, you know, for veterans for VA and shit like that is, you know, like another thing I could think of. Like, just going back from 2012, like a decade ago. I mean, like, what?
What has gone on? So, let me go through a lot of this here. And the responses are, you know, of course, universal in calling out the bullshit. But let's start with this. So we have to first attack this on, what is he trying to say? Is he saying the Democratic Party has moved left? Or is he saying that the voters have moved far left? Well, we actually have an answer on what he meant. I'll get there. But let's start with the assumption that he means the voters. So the voters have moved super left, and that's why he can no longer be with the left wing. Okay, looking at issues such as gay marriage, it's gradually increased since 2012.
Even amongst Republicans. I mean, because even amongst the Republican base, like, I mean, if you take the totality of the entire country, like, there's only about, like, at most, maybe, like, 37%, and at worst, like, a quarter of the country that, you know, still, you know, like, is really vehemently against these fucking ideas. I mean, it's just like, for the most part, most people are okay with them.
People, and by the way, look who's on the correct side of history here. It took a long while, for the Democratic Party to catch up, but they eventually caught up. But now even Republicans, a majority of Republicans support gay marriage. That's, you know, that was legalized, I guess, since 2012. But
Fish of the MC.
Are you against that? Like,
Fish of the seas.
What is he trying to argue here? So that you can't claim that's super far left, because that's just human rights, just basic understanding of, you know, of recognizing and allowing people to be who they are. Another issue here, legalizing marijuana. Again, we've seen gradual increases in support of this.
Wow. Actually, as of 20, at least so it says here, it actually went down for Republicans. I'm guessing because of the quote-unquote spike in crime and shit, and the propaganda about marijuana and drugs. I'm sure that's been creeping its head around the corner on top of this whole, like, problem of homelessness and, you know, and a lot of these different, like, you know, petty crimes and shit exacerbating across the board all over the country because of, you know, of the pandemic, amongst other things. Like, I mean, because of all that shit, I mean, I guess I could see how, you know, that dropped. But overall, I must say that, like, I mean, this, that being that, like, what was the height? 51%? It looks like 52, actually. About, like, 52% at, like, the height. I mean, and now it's back down to 48. I mean, that makes sense. I mean, there's still a good chunk of people that, even Republicans, that support it. And honestly, I'd probably argue that at least still about, like, half or just a little over half of Republicans, if you really, like, held them against a wall. Like, I mean, we're like, hey, do you support this or not? Like, they would actually probably support it. Or at least fundamentally just not give a shit.
Famously smoked weed with Joe Rogan on his podcast, so we have to imagine he supports legalizing marijuana. Well, right now, only Democratic voters and independents are in support of legalizing marijuana in a majority, 83% and 72%. Republicans have actually gone down. Now, 48% of them support legalizing marijuana, meaning majority of them don't support it.
I mean, I feel like that's, like, I feel like that just really depends on the poll. I bet the average is more about, like, 50 or 51%.
Republicans have moved further right. Democrats have sure gradually increased their support of a very basic social policy. But again, are you disagreeing with this? Of course he's not. He's on board with this. But he still thinks he's on the right. Another issue. Majority of Americans favor wealth tax on the very rich.
That's something that Elon Musk vehemently hates, and a lot of his Republican friends probably enjoy. I mean, and I think we're starting to get to why he thinks himself as right-wing, because of a lot of the economic policies. It was never about wokeness with this stupid fuck. If anything, he uses it to advantage for him. Because if anything, he could be like, oh, hey, I'm for the woke stuff. Oh, or he could be like, oh, I'm actually against it because it's cringe. Oh, just depending on how he fucking views it, like, he could literally go back and forth on whichever particular, quote, woke issue that he wants to.
Musk is on this issue. He's not in support of this, but a majority of Americans, not the far left, a majority of Americans support a wealth tax. Well, here's what he actually said. So he tweeted afterwards saying, I strongly supported Obama for president, but today's Democratic Party has been hijacked by extremists. Oh, of course.
Oh my god. Extremists? Like who? Can you name, like... Alright, can you name, like, the biggest, like, influential party members that happen to be extremists? I'll literally sit here and wait all day for that. Because none of them are. Like, what is this? I love this whole notion that, like, oh, Democrats, they're all insane and extreme and this and that. It's like, man, I wish. Where the fuck is this? Like, well, who are these people that are extreme? It's like, oh, like, doing the bare minimal and just merely saying, like, oh, yeah, let's fucking, become, like, a little bit more hard on things like, corporate taxes or something, and have, like, a little bit more, that these corporations have to pay. Oh, wow, so extreme. So extreme. Extremists like Obama's vice president. Yeah. He's strongly in favor of of President Obama, but not his vice president. Like, that makes no sense. Like, what? Oh my god, this was a faceplant. Holy shit. Like, what? Like, how in the actual fuck do you think that the current party are extremists, despite the fact that the current president was the vice president of Obama for his entire tenure? Like, what? Oh god, I fucking hate Elon Musk. Jesus Christ, like, the things I can do. Redacted. Oh, ay. Jesus Christ.
He is now led by Joe Biden, Obama's vice president. The House is led by Nancy Pelosi, the same person who led the House when Obama was president.
Who was also in party for, like, in power at least for like 30 plus fucking years. Like, that bitch, be old as fuck. Like, I mean, honestly, if you look at who's currently like the heads of the party right now, it's literally like no one extreme whatsoever. Musk and Bezos need to get Roblox to Mars already. I mean, well, I would agree with you. The thing is, like, the one, they have a chance to survive on Mars. 2, we don't really get to necessarily see their suffering or anguish. And 3, I mean, wouldn't it just be quicker and more of a guarantee if you just shot them at the sun? Just launch them to the sun? I mean, wouldn't that just be a guarantee? Like, if you just yeet them to the sun. To the sun they go. So, I don't know. I feel like that's at least a guarantee. It's like, we'll bribe the NASA scientists. I don't know how we'll get the money, but we'll get the money. And we'll just tell them, hey, you know, when Elon Musk and Bezos, you know, like just make them have a contract or something where, you know, they have a joint mission together in billionaire rich fuck solidarity where they're going to go to Mars together. Be together in joint tandem, the first people to land on Mars. But, you know, in reality, what we actually have done is actually calculated the coordinates to make sure it has a trajectory to the sun. Though once, you know, launched and everything, it will just look like it was a malfunction and coordination, and before they realize it, it'll be too late. So it's just like, we need to, like, you know, do some crazy shit, you know, to ensure, you know, like, they are unaware of it the entire time until it's too late, and then they'll be like, wait, why is it getting hotter in here? Jesus, these suits, they were meant to be, like, thermal, fuck. Oh, wait. Why is the coordinates, you know, going straight to the sun? Oh shit, it's going to the sun! You know, and then it's like for like the final hour they're panicking, and you know, and we just get to see that, and then they just kind of just combust because it's just so hot. I mean, it's just like, you know, I don't know. I feel like that would be more fun to watch. I mean, it's like, plus, again, it's a guarantee. Like, I mean, on Mars, if they do make it, and they somehow have the wherewithal and the skill to actually, like, build a fucking colony, they're gonna live. Do we want that? No. We don't want them having, like, an off-planet base for them to gain more power. Like, So, I like the Mars idea, but there needs to at least either be, one, a guarantee that they'll never live there, or two, just shoot them to the sun. Just shoot them straight to the sun. One of the two.
Boyer,
or both.
Also was in leadership, still in leadership. Oh, I know what's changed. Chuck Schumer. Extreme leftist Chuck Schumer, now heading the Senate. Now, I guess that's what he's talking about. Because what else could he possibly be talking about?
I mean, you know what? Yeah. Because honestly, I think Chuck Schumer, despite being a corporate shitbag himself, at least understands, I was talking about it last night a little bit, but like understands the idea of like giving breadcrumbs to people. So it at least looks like they are doing something. And he realizes that this is kind of the golden breadcrumb when it comes to student loan debt. And that's kind of been his big thing that he wants his party to do. Because he understands that that's the golden breadcrumb to give, and if his party did that, it would be they'll at least be set for, you know, the second term, you know, at least way stronger than they would be now. So, and I think he also understands that would help solidify a 2022, you know, win as well for them. So, I mean, you know, Chuck Schumer, he's not doing it out of kindness of his heart. He's just doing it out of sheer calculus in my mind. Where it's just like, hey, this is a breadcrumb that people want and will give us a lot of fucking support if we do it, so we should do it. And even Biden was like, nah, my spokesperson Schumer is actually saying that? Huh, no. So it's just like, I mean, there's evidently clashing and fighting back and forth over that fucking shit. Which is just so fucking goddamn ridiculous. Just do it. You can do it with a fucking pen swipe. Like, just... I mean, I didn't think I would actually come out here and be like, yeah, fucking... I don't even want to say it. I don't even want to say it. I don't even... Like, not even, like, in context of, you know, like, unironically saying it. I don't even want... Because it's like, yeah, I mean... I guess defending him is what I can say. It's like, I'll say that. It's like, I mean, leave me in a situation to kind of like, quote, defend Schumer a little, where it's just like, yeah, he's actually kind of being in the right a little bit by pushing this. Because, like, I mean, hey, it ain't like, you know, any of these other major issues that need to be pushed, like Medicare for All and everything else, but... I mean, hey, a lot of people want it. I definitely would be happy if it happened. So it's just like, yeah, I mean, I think he gets it, at least to that degree. Because, I mean, say what you want about these corporatists, they're definitely not stupid. Well, I'll say at least a good chunk of them aren't. Some of them are legit just fucking stupid. But, I mean, honestly, like, a lot of them really aren't. They have sheer calculus in mind when it comes to their decisions, and Schumer's got his. I think, honestly, Biden's definitely, at this point, just stupid because he's just so dementia-addled.
It breaks it down very clearly. Zach Bornstein here saying a helpful graphic I made for no one in particular. Democrats, 2008, 2021, Joe Biden. Republicans, John McCain, a moderate, in terms of the Washington spectrum, a moderate Republican. Now, hang Mike Pence. So, who has really moved? And this isn't just, you know, memes dictating this or showcasing this, but actual data Pew Research, Republicans have moved further to the right than Democrats have moved.
Let's see here. Average ideology. So I guess each of these little numbers are on the left are the more liberal and conservative. Okay, I'm seeing how the graphs point out now. Okay. So Senate, House. Oh, okay. Yeah, like the Dems barely move at all. And honestly, that's probably just because of, some of these more progressive, type of people that we hear from occasionally out of them. Like, mainly out of the House. But, like, it's, all in all, they barely move ever so slightly. But you get these Republicans and they're just like, we're going this way. Just very, very sharp turn to the right. It's like, yeah, it's like, curious. It's as if, all those things about how the country is moving further to the right in, like, every spectrum and every metric is actually true. And the Democrats are like a ratchet, and they barely move at all. So they just solidify a lot of this shit. So it's like, This
is from 1971 down to 2022. Democrats barely moved more liberal. Meanwhile,
it looks like they did in like 91 and 92, which I would assume that's due to the triangulation effect due to Clinton. Because I'm assuming during that time there were probably, some legit kind of lefty types that were kind of taking advantage of that. And then over time, then we got like, 11 to 12, and that was during Obama's second tenure, or at least just before it. And, I can honestly kind of see where a lot of these, different little points move around a little bit, just based off of what I'm looking at here. And it kind of makes sense considering a lot of these different elements of shit like, just the triangulation effects or the ratchet effect, like all these different things that come into major play that solidify a lot of these different right-leaning ideas and shit. While the Dems never really move fundamentally progressively left or just anywhere near that form really at all. It's very incremental. It's as if, incrementalism ain't actually fucking cutting it. Because, say what you want, it's very hyper-destructive, but when it comes to the Republicans and shit, they don't give a fuck about incrementalism. They care about, wanting to enact radical change and shit. So it's just like, should probably at least learn that element about them, because it probably it looks like it kind of works a little bit. For them, not much, because they're kind of the minority in this situation, kind of stupid, and also aren't that coordinated. They're coordinated enough, but not that much. And then you just get, like, it's just you gotta get that fucking energy, and then just, like, move it, into these other ideas and shit, because, like, holy shit, there's a reason why it's moved so much like that.
Republicans moving much further to the right, and that's in the Senate and the House. Very similar result here. Democrats barely moving to the left. Republicans moving further and further to the right. I think there's another graph on this. Indeed, here's overall. On average, Congress has become more conservative over the past 5 decades. So again,
wow, it's like, again, the ratchet effect is a thing.
From 71 to 2022.
What's the ratchet
you
effect?
See here.
Basically, it's, at least for America's terms, it's when every electoral cycle, you have like this cog, and then you have a ratchet, and the Democratic Party is basically that ratchet, while the cog is essentially the system moving more corporate and more like right-wing in that sense. And the Dems are essentially a ratchet, where every time there's like a more right-leaning or Republican or very pro-corporate administration, it just keeps moving further. But whenever you have like a Democratic administration, it'll just kind of like solidify it. It doesn't actually like reverse course or anything, so it just ends up solidifying in a lot of these different ideas and a lot of different laws and policies and shit that just really at the end of the day end up fucking everybody.
That's normal.
Exactly. It's at least one part of many different things. It's and at least in that, and it's more tied into things like electoralism and like voting and shit, because for that to work, you need the voter base and shit. Because in order for Democrats to actually work as the ratchet, you need at least enough people to vote for them to look like they're stopping the turn.
So the right. And that includes both parties have moved further right based on clearly what they're fighting for and or not getting accomplished. So you have there's many studies on this. Here's another one. This one's out of Sweden. Republicans closely resemble
we're gonna just trust those dirty Swedes.
Democratic parties in Hungary and Turkey.
Wait. They resemble more autocratic parties in Hungary and Turkey. Are you sure they don't just resemble more like Saudi Arabia or something? I guess I don't know how bad the autocratic parties in Hungary are. I definitely know in Turkey they're pretty bad, but like, I mean, if we realistically looked at like the real philosophy of what these people advocated for, it wouldn't, like, that shit would be moderate.
And Turkey, and this is one of their data points here, showing how in terms of
the Dems are just a line. They're almost a flat line. Like, what the fuck? They're literally almost a goddamn flat line, dude. Jesus Christ. Oh my god. And then you just get GOP. They're just like, yeah, boom. It's just like, what the fuck? Oh my god.
Party commitment to democracy.
It's like, I don't know, like, you know what, like, I think of a compromise. It's like, you know, if you believe in democracy, you should be able to vote in a democratic process. If you don't believe in democracy, then fuck you, don't get, you know, the ability to vote in such processes, because you don't believe in it. You don't, you know, think it's, you know, the viable system, so why are you participating in it? Like, I mean, this might as well just, like, wall off your fucking shit, like, oh, you don't think democracy's viable, don't like it? Well, alright. No democracy for you then. You don't like it, so you don't get it. It's like, I mean, shit. I mean, we already kind of do this anyway, like certain criminals and, like, you know, depending on what crimes you've done, your right to vote's revoked. So it's like, goddamn. Like, I mean, shit. Like, obviously we think it's okay under certain circumstances. It's like, I mean, maybe just, you know, the sheer virtue of, like, yeah, democracy's gay and we're gonna fucking, like, think it's bad and we're gonna, like, suppress it. It's like, okay. no more vote for you, bud. It's like, wait, what? I actually believe in democracy. What? You take my vote? It's like, I thought you hated democracy. Like, I actually don't know that it's impacting me. It's like, oh, I see. So you only care about democracy when it's only for you. Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh.
Democrats have
beep boop, we're still trying to relive the heights under Clinton. I know, it's so absurd. I mean, we need to just, like, get away from this stupid shit so much. Like, there needs to be just two different wheels now instead of, like, a ratchet. Like, honestly, like, that's kind of my main thing about the ratchet effect, at least. Like, it's a thing, but, you know, I guess, you know, the one thing is, like, what do you do about it? It's like, just take the ratchet off and put another fucking wheel that forces that other wheel to, like, you know, turn the opposite way. You know, put counter pressure to it. You know, so it's like, I mean, or just literally break the goddamn cog and replace it with a new one that turns the other way. Like, honestly, because that's what needs to fucking happen at this point. Like, no ratchets, no, like, you know, oh, we'll just, like, you know, tweak this little thing a little bit here and there. It's like, no, Like, I mean, even earlier, in my stream earlier this afternoon, I was checking out, Kyle's video asking Marianne Williamson to her face if she'd run, because Marianne Williamson was on Crystal Kyle and Friends. And honestly, it's just like, I mean, she was even saying this type of shit in her weird little, like, crystal chakra mom way, you know, a little bit. I mean, she was just basically like, you know, yeah, like, you know, this type of system is unsustainable and needs to be broken in some way, and there needs to be, like, a fundamental change that happens. Like, incrementalism has shown itself to not work. And it's just like, yeah, I mean, you know, it's like, honestly, like, in a lot of ways, she's at least got the same rhetoric as Bernie, just, you know, in a different, you know, like, oratorical way. But, I mean, I would say at minimal, but honestly, at best, I would say she, and maybe in some ways, might even be a little bit better than Bernie. I mean, but I don't know. I mean, she hasn't really flexed her muscle quite yet, so, I mean, I hope she will be able to have an opportunity to do so. So, you know, maybe we can see. But, you know, at this point, she's just like, yeah, if we would run, and we would strongly do it. So it's just like, if she does, I think she would try to pop off of a bang a little bit, which I would hope so. She doesn't strike me as someone who would be capable of doing that, but hey, I mean, she's kind of surprised me a little bit in the past couple months, so... I mean, you know, Marianne Williamson might, you know, be down with, you know, some of the astrology crystals and shit, but, you know, I don't give a fuck. I mean, hey, she's throwing me curveballs enough for me to like her at this point, so... I mean, if she honestly legitimately ends up being, like, a Democratic candidate, you know, in the primaries, like, it will get me voting in the primaries again, at least. Because, I mean, I'd be voting for her if she ran. But... I mean, as it stands now, I mean, I don't think there's anyone viable that would make me give a fuck about anything, you know, on a federal issue on things. Oh, I don't know if I showed you yet, but I did get my ballot in. I haven't filled it up yet, but I'm already going to do a lot of filling up on this. There's a few things I still need to look up about, but for the most part, I feel pretty confident about, you know, who I'm going to vote for. So... Mark Gamba's under the 41st state house seat, so he's running for that. Which I'm pretty confident that Gamba's going to win that. If Williams and Kyle Tickett would completely nail the stalker mom voting block. You know, that, funny enough, that so would. You are 100% right. That would. Because the thing is, like, both of them, you know, I think have an appeal, especially Williamson. Like, Kyle just aesthetically looks like it, so that would just appeal to a lot of people that don't know him. But Williamson has that appeal, and there are, at least, you know, a little bit more of a, you know, publicity about her. Like, there's likelihood that people are going to know her way more than Kyle, you know, so... I mean, all in all, you know, I would think that actually would, funny enough, work. And I do want Kyle to run for office of some sort. Like, I mean, I really do. So, I mean... Yeah, I'd like to see that, honestly. I mean, he's already kind of going places as it is now, you know. He's, like, hanging out with, you know, and getting down with, you know, Crystal Ball a little bit. You know, those two have, you know, are, you know, just been popping off of successes and content left and right. So it's just like, fuck yeah. I got the ballot also. Apparently I'm still in District 1 due to redistricting. Yeah, I'm in 5th District, so... Get the vote for Hardesty. Nice. Yeah, I actually, who do you think, who are you looking at for governor? Because honestly, at least from what I've looked at so far, either Tina Kotek or Michael Trimble are the guys, or the two that I'm looking at. Yeah, or Tina Kotek. Yeah, Michael Trimble. And obviously, Jamie McLeod Skinner, that's obviously who I'm going to be voting for there. And I also get to vote for Commissioner of the Bureau of Labor and Industries. Either Kotek or Trimble. Not really. At least from what I've been looking up, I mean... Oh, either. Oh, yeah, I just... Okay. But yeah, I'm pretty much the same way. Like, both of them seem like they're good. Michael, like, kind of looks like he's a little, quote, outside the fray a little bit, while Tina seems like she kind of has an established record a little bit. So, I don't know. It's probably going to be down to one of those two. I mean, this Gamba, Skinner. I feel like I might do Barlow the third for senator, but, you know, I don't know. Maybe. There's a lot of these judge of the circuit courts and then court of appeals that only have one person. Oh, wait, there's actually one that has two. There's Vance Day or the incumbent Darlene Ortega. Trimble is a better platform, but it's pretty much a race between Kotek and Reed. Though there haven't been frequent polls. So Tina Kotek and Tobias Reed are pretty much the runner-ups here. Vance is a crazy Trumper. Oh, really? Oh, God. Oh, no. There's a county commissioner position 2 and 5. And then a Metro Council president. And then there's Metro Council District 2, and there's 2 people. That's it. So. Oh my god, I love how there's just crazy, like, I love how even in a very progressive area, you still gotta deal with crazy Trump people. He was convicted of a felony and pissed that he was kicked off the court as a result. He pretty much is running to get revenge. Oh my god, are we serious? So he's trying to get revenge, basically. He's like, I will get my revenge and crack down on all my political opponents with this job. Oh my god, what a fucking moron. What a maroon. It reminds me of Bill Sizemore, dude. Were you here when we deep dived Bill Sizemore? Like, he basically is running just because he has a fucking vendetta and wants to get revenge against the unions. Like, that's literally it. Like, he literally has, like, I mean, do I have the plan for this? Yeah, I have it over here still. Like, this dude, like, half of his platform is literally just like, fuck unions. It's just like, Jesus Christ, dude. This guy is such a little bitch. And he looks like one, too. Let me try to find him here. Hold on. Where are you? Oh, here he is. Here he is. There. Look at him. Looks like... He just looks like an... He actually looks like an old lunch lady. Of course, he's also about... he's also about, like, fuck mandates and shutdowns, even though they're not a thing anymore. Lawless, homeless encampments, ignore violent rioters, no teaching kids wokeness or CRT, no highway or bridge tolls. Like, this is the only thing, like, the Republicans have a thing on around here, is that, like, fuck toll roads. It's like, okay, yeah, that's, like, the only thing I agree with. There's a crazy lady running for sheriff 2020 who was literally running getting payback on the sheriff for some really petty personal dispute. Oh my god. I love how, like, local politics can just be the shit sometimes, where it's literally just people over petty disputes. Like, we're not the only state or the only county around here, or, you know, like, or anything. Like, I mean, honestly, like, I mean, I've, even on, like, true crime shit, like, I've always heard about, like, crazy, weird-ass, like, petty disputes, or, like, you know, weird-ass crimes over this type of shit. When it's a low-profile office. Yeah, I mean, it's a low-profile type of office, so I guess it's easier to get away with that type of shit. Because, you know, you can, you know, use it far more to your advantage for personal vendettas. So. But yeah, this dude is also like the candidate the public employee unions fear most. And he basically is just like, I mean, in the stupid shit that it says in here, public employee unions know that Governor Bill Sizemore will break the stranglehold that they have on Oregon politics. Consequently, they have assassinated Bill's character, sued him for millions, and tried to bribe him out of politics, but he has not backed down. Read the truly shocking details at friendsofbillsizemore.com. And I actually went through it, and it's literally just straight up like a fucking vendetta against trade unions and shit because of his own fucking dumbass shit. So he's just a sad little sop. He's gonna get because even around here, there's more conservative-leaning people that are actually in favor of unions. So, like, even around here, like, I mean, that's not gonna go anywhere at all. Like, you might get some people, but you're not getting, like, nowhere near enough to get anywhere where you want to go there, Bill. And his name, too, Sizemore, dude. Sizemore, like, oh my god.
The same, and
Sizemore has to make it bigger at McDonald's. I mean, he doesn't look like a chunk boy. He looks like a skinny, so I don't know if it's McDonald's. It'll probably be a little bit more like some, it'll probably be like some upper crusty, like business, like, you know, steakhouse where a lot of businessmen and CEOs in the region go to, or some shit. where he tries to fit in with a bunch of other weird CEO chuckle fucks, where he's all like, oh yes, I'm against those dirty unions too, like you guys. Yes. Oh, those dirty liberals and their poor economics and all this other bullshit. Like, I guarantee he's doing that type of shit. He's trying to butter himself up to, like, the local Republican establishment to get in with them. Like, honestly, around here, it seems like that's what a lot of Trumpy Republicans are trying to do a little bit. You know, they're trying to kind of butter up, you know, to kind of the older guard around here and, you know, use that as a way to, you know, get in. Because if they just, like, went full balls to the wall, like, they're not really going to have too much of an advantage outside of very select areas that already are pretty conservative. Like, so, I mean, you know, the only real way for, like, even a moderate Republican to even have a chance is to actually at least act like one a little bit. You know, and at least, you know, try to get in with some of their basic lingo-jingle bullshit. But even then, it's just like, eh. It's like, even then, you know, it's not much of a chance outside of these already conservative areas. Like, even in mixed areas, like, you know, around in Clack County, it varies. Like, some towns, like Estacada, but a lot of others tend to be either fairly mixed or actually kind of left. I think Wonk is pretty fucking left. If anything, probably way more left than even fucking Portland. So it's just like, yeah. It's like, just because they happen to be conservatives don't mean that their fucking politics is going to sell necessarily. I mean, I guess it does, but not enough to, you know, have people vote for you.
Detriment, they barely fight Republicans at all. Meanwhile, the GOP have gone much lower and have backslid towards authoritarianism. And again, this is a Swedish study, not some, you know, partisan hacks here. People out of Sweden showing us. Also, another indication of how off-base Elon Musk is. Richard Nixon is the one that ushered in the EPA.
Yeah, that's true. Like, honestly, Richard Nixon is kind of a strange mixed character because he was kind of weirdly anti-worker, but he also did policies that were also pro-worker. So it's just like, and this kind of being one of them too a little bit. So it's just like, I mean, Nixon's such a weird dude. Like, obviously a very staunch, vehement anti-communist, you know, and anti-union at least, you know, and not left in a lot of ways, but it's like, I mean, a lot of the policies at least, and a lot of stuff that he did get through and enacted, like the EPA and shit, kind of were. So it's like he definitely is such a fucking weird little mixed bag, but still kind of a shithead though. But I mean, it's a mixed bag though, nonetheless. You know, I know DFF did a Patreon episode on Richard Nixon and kind of his complex political career and shit, and it really is.
Tried to do this today, they would be laughed out of the room. In fact, this is too far left for a Democrat. Democrats would be afraid to do this. They're doing barely anything, if anything at all, on the climate crisis.
I mean, honestly, I mean, he really ain't fucking wrong on that. Like, not even Democrat. They would start like a goddamn like committee first before they even did a fucking like agency like the EPA. Like, they'd be like, we'll do a committee to see if this is viable. Yes. It's like, oh yeah, and that committee's gonna come back. It's like, we actually need more time to conclude if this is viable. So we need like another like 20 years or something to, you know, do some more studies and research and blah, 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 blah. Yes. It's like, oh my god. Like, they would do it. They so fucking would. And they'd be like, we need like, you know, a 10-year committee research study, you know, to see if the EPA would even be worth it. Yes. And by the way, make sure the studies are mostly based on like the financial impact of it. Do we have the money for it? Do you have enough money? Oh wait, it looks like we're actually a little like $10 billion over budget. We actually, I guess we can't do that anymore. It'll be going towards the military. Yes. Yes.
Brought in the EPA. But no, Democrats have moved extreme left. And Warren Gunnell's here, fantastic little breakdown showing in 2000, the actual differences between these years. 2008, Elon Musk, I ran out of cash. Wall Street bailout up to $29 trillion. Minimum wage, $6.55. 2015, Musk's growing empire fueled by $4.9 billion in government subsidies. A reminder that Musk's wealth that has been created for himself is not just because of his own hard work. It's because of his ununionized employees and, of course, the money he takes from government contracts. In 15, his net worth was $13.2 billion, minimum wage $7.25. 2022, Musk's net worth now $253 billion, minimum wage the same, $7.25.
Redacted, Roblox, Minecraft.
Aside,
So where do we get to bring out the Minecraft, the Roblox, and the GTA, and the Redacted? When do we get to bring those out? Because I think that bringing those out would be very viable at this point. Yeah.
so far left that a billionaire added more than 200.
Like I really want to. I just want to say what I want to say. Like, cause it's like motherfuckers like Elon Musk are not like these free speech warrior types and shit. They just pretend they are. But it's like, man, if they really were, like, God, I would love to to just like use his platform to just really truly say what I have to say then. Cause like, hey, for a free speech type of platform, then you should be okay with criticism, right? Right. Right. So it's like, hey, I'm sure you'll totally be okay if someone were to say we should round up all the billionaires and redact and Minecraft them into a Roblox server, with a lot of redacted Minecraft, tools that you can craft in Minecraft. So it's just like, yeah, I mean, it's like at a certain point, it's just like, nah. Like the Hague, Nuremberg trial stuff, but it's like, yeah, I mean, it's nice and dandy, but like, I think we're kind of past those type of things now at this point. I think we could just kind of get right to the chase and just kind of, just kind of go right, just kind of straight into the judgment protocols and shit. It's like, I think we could just do that, because I think we already know what they're guilty of. Like, we don't need to go for, like, we don't need, like, to go for some, pomp and circumstance trial to be like, oh, yes, they're guilty. It's like, we know what they are. We know what they're guilty of. Like, we don't need to, do all this, lingo jingle bullshit. Like, we could just, do the, the verdict and just go right to the chase, right? Yeah, right. So, it's just like, it's like, I mean, come on, like, oh my God, man, at least I can get creative with different ways I can kind of describe, how I feel about it, but like I can only do that in so many ways. Like only so many ways before it's just back to the redacted Minecraft shit again.
Net worth. And I have to share this as well, because this came out of this.
Oh God!
It is sad and funny. Elon Musk stole this from someone else and did not credit them.
Oh my God, of course, because Elon Musk steals everything and makes sure that, it looks like that he's the one who did it in the first place. Like, I mean, he appropriated Nikola Tesla's name and just jacked Tesla, as a name. Fucking, steals the patents and research development, even of his own fucking workers and shit, to maximize profit and the production of his fucking shit. I mean, it's just like, the dude's a literal fucking robber baron. Literally a robber baron. And it's just like, really? It's like, oh, he stole a meme? Really? I never knew he'd do that. It's like,
it's
like he would literally, like, steal a lollipop from a starving baby and laugh, while, like, eating it too. It's like, wee! You get the baby's all like, wee! All crying and shit because his last little lollipop it was going to kind of, enjoy, and, he'd be like, oh, this last lollipop, it's very delicious. All you have to do is just work hard for it, little baby. Just work for it, and you'll be able to achieve this lollipop. I gained $8 million just in this last 5 seconds. It's like he would literally do that. Like, I mean, he's such a, like, I mean, the dude does, like, like, I'm starting to, like, think that there's, like, certain elements of humanity that just, like, have either evolved, adapted, or are just, like, have, like, some sort of genetic variable that is just, like, yeah, we're just gonna be detached from the human condition. Like, they're still people, but, like, they're just detached from, like, the human condition itself. Where it's, like, they've set up their own, like, little like human condition of, you know, existence in the world, and are just utterly detached from basically 99.9% of humanity. Like, they're just like the select, like they're the selected few that are just like, yeah, we're detached from the human condition and the suffering of the human mind and the human physical woes and shit. It's like, and Musk is one of them, and Jesus Christ, the only reason why it is like that isn't even necessarily because of, like, you know, some weird, like, you know, genetic factor, whatever the fuck. It's just because, you know, society is deemed as such because they have become the fucking ruling class over everyone else, so they have the power, wealth, and influence and the means to have such, you know, power to do such.
It's so depressing. Colin right here saying, thank you for sharing my cartoon, Elon Musk. You can buy the... What? The mug? Is that what it says? The mug in my store? Oh god, this is on a mug?
Oh god.
This is Colin made this up. Unfortunately, Elon Musk didn't credit me as the creator of the cartoon. But if you would like to buy a unique piece of internet history, you can now bid for it as my first NFT.
Oh my god, so even the original artist is starting to grift up on it. Oh my god, you know what, fuck this dude too. Fuck the original guy too, because, like, instead of, like, actually, you know, targeting the root of it, he's even making money off of it. It's a fuck you. Man, what? Wow, man, everyone's a grift. Everyone's a fucking work in this, dude. Oh my god, what the fuck? Dude, even the original dude's a work. What the fuck? Elon Musk's goddamn work. Goddamn fucking, you know, this son of a bitch is, you know, work. Because he's, like... You know what? Like, did this, like... Was this, like, a thing that was planned? Hold on, like, he's like, hey, thanks for crediting me. Now you can buy this, you know, on a mug, and also you can bid at it. Oh, this is my first NFT. It's like, what, you're not even mad? Like, what? Like, I'd probably, like, like, if I was an artist and I had that happen to me, I'd like, even if I'd lost, I'd probably, like, sue or something. Like, Jesus Christ, like, are we serious? Like, I'd be pissed.
So thrilled that Elon Musk shared my cartoon. Unfortunately, same thing. And then he says here, people are for some bizarre reason really upset that I am trying to take credit for my original art recently shared by Elon Musk, and even gasp trying to make money selling it. So, like, this guy has every right to try and sell this as an NFT. I think NFT...
Well, taking advantage of that, you know, because the shit, like, you know, suddenly gain popularity because of Elon Musk and shit when you call him out. And you get highlighted because of that shit. It's like, bruh, like, do you think there's probably, you know, more important shit?
Stupid, but whatever. If he can sell it, make some money, go right ahead. But people are actually attacking this guy for mentioning that Elon Musk didn't give him credit. There are some crazy fanboys on Twitter for Elon Musk. It makes absolutely no sense. But to get back to, you know, the main issue here, the claim that somehow the left has moved so extreme left. What has happened on mass incarceration? In fact, Biden has called for more police funding.
Oh yeah, that's totally, you know, like, ensuring that there's going to be, like, more reforms and trying to crack down on a lot of the corruption in police forces and shit around the country. Oh, totally. 100%. But, you know, somebody who's, like, quote, tough on crime, you know, oh yeah, you know, it's just like, you know, he's totally gonna make sure that those reforms get through, 100%. Like, I mean, he was never in favor of, like, you know, doing anything that, you know, came to appeasing people that were for the quote, to fund the police, or reform the police type of crowd and shit. Like, he was never in favor of, you know, appeasing them at all. Like, it was just used as a political pawn, you know, just to fucking, you know, make sure he gets in power and shit, and then he could just enact all of his, you know, fucking you know, pro-law enforcement and pro-cop fucking laws and shit. I mean, when you have a fucking cop as a VP and shit, I mean, yeah, like, you're going to definitely be more in favor of them than, you know, people who are critiquing them. I mean, it's like the motherfucker wrote the crime bill and shit, you know, back in the day. So it's like, what, we're supposed to, you know, think that any appeasement towards, you know, the police reformation / like defund the police crowd was actually going to be, like, anything meritable?
Here, or like the continued gap between the growing gap between the rich and the poor. I showed you that with how much money Elon Musk has made. Rolling back in voting rights, Democrats not getting anything done on that either. Meanwhile, the right is trying to ban abortion, banning books on race and LGBTQ issues. Their anti-climate science stances.
I guess also anti-math too, because DeSantis is banning math books. Which is like, what?
The Capitol. I mean, all of these things. Not to mention, if you want to just say, oh, well, it's not Biden, but it's people like AOC. So asking for crazy far-left things like expanding healthcare to Medicare for all, a single-payer system that every other country has, some kind of universal system. Canada has a single-payer system. Healthcare for all, super far-left extreme. Increasing wages. I showed you how they just stayed the same. Maybe people need to make a little more money. Maybe as a billionaire increases wealth by $200 billion, it's not too much to ask that people at the bottom can make a little more.
Yeah, not at all.
Canceling student loan debt, which would actually help the economy. Putting money back into society. Freeing people up to start a family, maybe buy a home. But no.
Yeah, like, honestly, in this country, the ability to buy a home is kind of laughable. Like, don't get your hopes up that much.
Oh, all of this is too far left. Yet none of it's gotten done. And the actual Democratic Party has moved to the right.
Go figure.
This is the brain on this man.
I mean, it's just like, again, it just kind of goes back to the whole fucking ratchet effect from earlier. It's just like, when you have an entire party that just barely moves a fucking dent at all when it comes to, the issues and shit, and then you have another party, the whole two-party system that, continues to move and shift further and further to the fucking right. It's like, yeah, I mean, honestly, this is what happens as a result. Like, you get a more degradation of, a lot of these different things that have already been in place, and then you get, a party that just barely, does the goddamn thing, about any of these other issues and to address them. But, they're just like, too left or too woke, though. It's like, maybe if they actually did some shit, but even then they wouldn't even be woke or, too left or anything like that at all. They would just be doing the bare minimal at that point. Which would be at least, like, social democratically progressive and shit like that. But, I mean, especially for the whole Democratic Party, that's asking a little too much of them. A little too much of them at all. But here, blah, blah, blah. Let's see what else is on tube here. Yeah, it says Playwright debunks herself while trying to own libs. Debunks herself? I mean, doesn't her own existence debunk herself? Like, she's all about, like, oh, fuck trans people, yet her existence is supposed to be, like, being a trans person and shit. Where it's like, yep, I'm a trans person, but fuck trans people, though. It's like that, like, her existence in itself. It's like a refutation to, like, everything she is. Yeah, so it's like she just debunks and refutes herself just literally existing. So it's like, what? But honestly, I'm kind of curious what this specific thing is anyway. Oh, it's gonna be loud.
So I haven't spoken much about Blair White on the program before, but for those of you who are unfamiliar with her, she's essentially the transgender equivalent of Dave Rubin. She's a willing, useful idiot for conservatives. She enables their transphobia, endorses usually transphobic things and policies, and I'm hoping at least that she gets paid for her services. I feel bad for her. It's honestly sad that she does this, and she's willing to throw her own community under a bus, but that's who she is. Basically, a Dave Rubin version.
I mean, she's not part. I mean, she's just not part of any trans community at all.
So she decided to own the libs, or try to own the libs on Twitter, following news about Joe Biden's administration potentially canceling student loan debt. So this is what she wrote. Imagine believing a 5-year-old can pick their gender, but 18-year-olds can't consent to student loans. So she's...
Imagine believing a 5-year-old can pick their gender, but 18-year-olds can't consent to student loans.
But 18-year-olds...
How are those even equivocal? How do those even equate at all? What?
Student loans. So she's playing right into this transphobic...
That doesn't even, like, those are... Oh my god.
And their propagandists. You know, no one is trans, no child is trans. They're always, you know, indoctrinated into this woke gender ideology by their liberal parents. Except my question for...
How can, you know, these woke, you know, agendas, you know, be done, you know, if, you know, 5-year-olds can't consent to, you know, what gender they are, if 50-year-olds can't consent to student loans? It's like, like, literally what? Like, I'm still trying to wrap my head around that in itself. Like, those aren't even comparable. Like, and also, are you trying to say that, like, no one should be going through student loan debts? While trying to say no one should go through, like transgender rates? Like, I am, like, so confused with it. It's just so stupid. They're not equivocal. Like, I don't even know. Why? Like, why say such a stupid thing? Like, I've especially recently, I've seen some stupid shit said, but... I mean, like, holy shit. Like, this is, like, another level of dumb. And it's because kids get hammered in that they need to go to college. I mean, yeah, like, I mean, I guess in that sense, but at least when it comes to, like, trans issues, like, they're just not equivocal. Like, I mean, yeah, like, no one should be forced, you know, into student loans. Yeah, I agree with that, but how does that relate to trans issues again, Blair Wright? Because they don't. Like, if anything, it would probably help, you know, trans people. Because then, you know, if there's trans people that are in college and shit, might have student loans, then they won't have those anymore, and then they can use those loans and, well, the money from what those loans, you know, or the debt, you know, from those loans would be, and use those instead, you know, for probably, like, you know, HRT or fucking, you know, some other form of gender racism, or just whatever the fuck else, you know, some clothes that make them feel more comfortable to wear, or whatever the hell. I mean, it's just like, if anything, it would help those type of people. So it's just like, I mean, even if you're trying to, like, dunk on the trans people, like, I mean, even then, like, if you're trying to quack at, like, the idea that, oh, we don't consent to student loans just as much, you know, like, children at 5 don't consent to, like, I don't even know. It's like, I just legit am trying to, like, find how they're equivocal, and it's like they're not. No one has the money and debt colleges want. Yeah.
Issue?
When did you feel, if you can remember, when did you feel like something was off? That you were supposed to be a girl?
Like 5.
At 5?
Yeah, I remember being in...
Oh. Wait, Blair, right? So you realized that your physical sex wasn't aligned to what you know, neurologically, you know, felt like of who you were. Because you're a woman growing up in a male's body. And you kind of start figuring that out around 5. And, 126, let's go back a little bit. Where was it? Where's the tweet? It's up here. Yeah, right there. And, yeah, we got this, right? Yeah, so imagine believing a 5-year-old could pick their gender. Well, you did. But 18-year-olds can't consent to student loans. Yeah, because guess what? You can. Like, those two issues aren't even equivocal, because you can believe 2 things at once. So, a little odd there, Mishy. A little odd there, if I do say what, if I do tell you what. Because it's like, really? You're gonna say this shit, you know, like you did, I don't even know when you went on Joe Rogan. I mean, I frankly don't give a fuck. But it's just like, you went on Joe one time, you say that, and yet you're like, oh, imagine if, like, you know, believing a kid at 5 years old could pick their gender. You did. So, yeah, not only can I imagine it, I just know that can happen. So, what? Like, I mean, it just makes me wonder, like, what the fuck goes on in her head? Because it's just like, I mean, yeah, you're like pretty much the equivalent of the Dave Rubin, you know, and shit, just like Candace Owens is, and Ben Shapiro, and all these other dumb fucks. But, like, you just are literally a walking oxymoron. Like, you believe shit that is just vehemently against you in every step of the way, and yet you are literally a walking refutation of what you fucking believe. So it's like, what? I mean, I mean, it's probably even worse than Dave Rubin, honestly, because I imagine, you know, some of her, you know, quote, fans probably really say some fucking venomous shit. Like, oh my god, imagine if she came out and was just like, yo, I'm having a child or something like that. Oh, dude, imagine if she had the Dave Rubin, you know, event where she, like, you know, is like, hey, I'm coming out and I'm having a child, you know, or whatever the fuck. You know, like, how, you know, the child, you know, comes to be doesn't really matter. It's like, you know, she's, you know, whether it's like adoption or not, who cares? Like, I mean, you know, just imagine, like, how many fucking people will literally just, like, want her head. Like, just vehemently. Like, oh, shit. It'd be way more than Dave Rubin, that much to be sure. Raccoon was on the back porch a minute ago. They look like little robbers. Well, yeah. They're like little trash pandas. And little bandits.
Like, my earliest memories in life were feeling like the only way I can describe it was like a very intense misalignment between the way I was perceived and the way my self-concept. So I would say 5, but obviously I didn't have the words to articulate it at 5.
Is that so? You realized that you were trans when you were 5 years old. Let's look at that tweet again. Imagine believing a 5-year-old can pick their gender, but 18-year-olds can't consent to student loans. Oh, it's so good. This is amazing because it proves that conservatives have no ideology. They're simply reactionaries, plain and simple. I mean, they think that student loan debt cancellation on the left is a good thing. I think it's bad. What's that? Leftists think that education should be free. I think that's bad. What's that? They also believe that healthcare should be free at the point of service and somebody shouldn't die if they can't afford to get healthcare. That's bad. Socialism is bad. It's astonishing to me. They have no unique beliefs that originate from within them. They have no actual ideas about policy. It's just whatever their opponents want, they fight them and say that's bad. It's just, it's incredible, honestly. It's incredible. Now, what's sad about...
I like how it's just so, just casual with this, just like, it's incredible. It's incredible. And yes, it honestly is. Like, I mean, it's sad, honestly, how so many of these sad stops have literally nothing better to do. I mean, because honestly, you know, the speakers and, like, the commentators are even the minority of these type of people and shit. Because, like, I mean, you know, small little echelon of the country and shit, you know, looks up to these type of reactionary types and shit. But they, like, I mean, they don't have nowhere near enough work in their goddamn thumb, you know, as much as, you know, like, the rest of fucking, you know, like, these other people like Blair Wright and shit. You know, because at least, you know, they're out there having a life and talking and, you know, this stupid shit and getting paid for it. Like, you know, these other stat sops, you know, just spend most of their time on the fucking internet getting, like, either social security checks or fucking, you know, taking, you know, fucking money out of their mama's account. I mean, it's just like, ooh, damn. Rip. Like, these sad little reactionary types and shit just, like, don't actually, you know, put forth a legitimate effort, you know, to put some form of an original thought. And it's just like, because at least there's plenty of people that could, yeah, maybe be, you know, like on SSDI and all this other type of shit, but actually have a brain in their head and actually understand, you know, the variables and the nuances about, like, you know, shit, you know, to some degree or another. You know, it's like, I don't necessarily have to agree to, you know, a lot of their ideas or conclusions, but hey, nonetheless, you know, fuck, you know, at least they got a brain in their head. Like, these people are just fucking reactionaries and are like, hey, there's a thing, I'm against it. Boo. Just contrarian for contrarian's sake. And it's like, is there a natural brain there? Like, has puberty hit for you? Like, are you gonna actually grow up from the age of 8? No? Okay, well, I guess I'll just keep treating you like that. There's like these trolls that keep coming in here lately again. Like, I mean, now that they've come back a little bit. It's just like, I mean, like to me, it's like they don't really affect me outside of just like either being a mild annoyance or just amusing. Like, it's really just one or the other now at this point. Like, because like honestly, they are the equivalent of just like weird 8-year-olds that are on like a fucking like elementary school recess fucking yard, you know, and just like, oh well, the local school losers bid, huh? You know, while it's just literally them and like 2 of their other buddies, and like no one else hangs out with them. It's just like, yeah, okay, sure, bud. It's like, yeah, alright. Oh, you're really getting them there. You're really getting them there, kiddo. Because at least for me, I wander around alone on the fucking school ground shit, but I'm just doing my own thing. I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm not like a weird, insecure little jocko bro like they are. Well, also look like a little, unathletic and fucking hella unfit little schlub boys, too, out the boot.
Thinks that if she can be a useful idiot to the GOP for long enough, eventually they'll accept her. Perhaps she has this warped view of the GOP and she thinks that, you know, if they see me as one of the good trans people, then maybe that will be conducive to broader acceptance of trans people if I can be the example that they prop up. But the problem is that they will never accept you. Never, Blair White.
Like, honestly, if she was going to attempt to even achieve that, at least on a legitimate principled level, she wouldn't be conservative. Like, honestly, I think at worst, she'd probably be like a Hunter Avallone type or something. Like, kind of a centrist lib type, you know, that might be like kind of somewhat conservative on maybe economic stuff, but socially progressive. But she's not, so I mean, she's just like, she's just literally doing the whole Dave Rubin thing.
You know, maybe you're economically conservative.
Like, I mean, because honestly, like, I mean, because I mean, all you have to do is just look at fucking, you know, Rubin, especially recently when he came out, and you're like, hey, I'm having a kid. Like, cause like the conservative base, you know, they only like you because you're the useful fucking idiot. You know, oh, you're the good queer guy, you know, alright, yeah. Well, you shouldn't be with your husband, you should be either like a single, you know, repressive gay guy, or like, you know, whatever. Like, you know, even then, they don't like it. When he came out with the kid, they were basically like, oh my god, you're literally are stealing, you know, children from women and fucking, like, you know, destroying the lives of, like, just all sorts of fucking feminist shit, where it's like, if I was getting that shit, like, I'd be fucking, you know, taking a list and checking it twice and kicking some fucking asses. But, like, I mean, not Dave. He literally sits there and takes it up the ass like a little bitch that he is when it comes to this shit. I mean, same with Blair White. Like, I mean, it honestly, like, dead fucking ass. If like, Blair had, like, a tweet or something that was pretty much identical to Dave Rubin, like, hey, I'm having a kid, she would get a vehemently worse fucking treatment than Dave Rubin would. And she would take it just like everything else. And it's just like, and honestly, even if I wasn't trans, like, I'd probably be one to kick some fucking asses and shit. Like, dead ass. Like, I already know that if I saw that shit in public, I probably would.
But the sad fact is they will never, ever support you. They tolerate you insofar as you continue to be useful to them and act as a propaganda tool. You know, if they can point to you and say, well, our transphobic policy is right because this trans person said so, then they'll continue to use you. But the second that you are not useful to them, they'll toss you aside like that because they don't give a shit about you, Blair White. They will never accept you. They're using you as a tool, and you're letting them do that.
Yep.
And you're using your identity as a trans woman to make the world a shittier place for other trans people. I don't understand why you do that. And she talks about how...
Because she gets paid the greenbacks. That's it. I mean, that's literally it. Like, I mean, I mean, I don't even know if that really is literally it, though. Like, honestly, I wonder if there really is, like, some other fucking, like, shit behind this. Outside of just a typical, like, Dave Rubin-esque, like, oh, I make money off of it, so I'll just accept it type of thing. Because, like, it has to be, like, you know, really, like, a legitimate, like, deep insecure. Like, she's still, well, like, because she also does this whole, like, oh, the only good trans people are those that pass. And she literally, you know, is very insecure about herself looking like she passes. That's why she literally kind of looks like the equivalent of like the model, like a supermodel or something like that, because she's very, very hyper like self-aware about her appearance. So she has to like make herself look as much of like a supermodel woman type as possible to try to like like sweep away some of that insecurity and shit. And it's like, even then, I guess it doesn't work. Because she did about as much as she could, and when it comes to that front, so now it's just like, well, just fuck trans people now. Because, I mean, I don't know what else she could do, and, like, now at this point, when it comes to her own appearance, outside, from starting to get uncanny valley levels of, work done. I mean, it's just like, and honestly, she looks fine. I mean, it's not even the dog on how she looks at all. I mean, she looks totally okay. I mean, she's beautiful, but, like, she's just a shitty person. So it's just like, I mean, what do you want? Like, if anything, like, it's really, like, the appearance is trying to hide the fact that she's kind of a shitty person.
And consent to student loans. As if we have a choice, right? I mean, you think that when we go to college, we think, man, I'm so excited because now I get to get student loans. And I get to have all this money that I get to pay back. We don't have a fucking choice. It's either you take out the student loans or you don't go to college. That's where we're at in society. Like, my family saved $0 for me to go to college, right? So I went to community college and then eventually transferred to a 4-year university and then grad school. I had to take out student loans in order to get an education. And education is a good thing. We all are entitled to educations. So for you to say, oh, well, you chose, you knew what you were doing to take out those student loans, the fuck we did. We had no fucking choice. In this society, every single young person is told, if you want to be successful, you have to get an education. If you want to be economically just secure in your life, you have to get an education so you get a good job. And then all these young people, they take out these loans to get educations, and then they graduate into an economy where they can only find jobs at fucking Walmart or Starbucks. That's the state of the world. So to say that they consented to that, it's ridiculous. But you, however, you're consenting to being the GOP's useful idiot. And I genuinely feel bad for her because I feel like she probably believes that she can actually facilitate greater acceptance of trans people if she puts down trans people and she's like one of the good trans people. I mean, take a look.
It just doesn't. Like, the only way it does is if you actually legitimately are pushing for fucking trans advocacy. Like, that's really honestly the only way you're going to be able to do that. Because enabling bigotry against these people doesn't do shit. Like, I mean, I will say at least, when it comes to, like, maybe have some jokes and stuff, like, I mean, I think that's okay within reason, but there's a difference between making just, like, some fun little jokes occasionally and, like, legitimate, like, bigoted, just, like, transphobic fucking, like, shitty fucking, type of jokes and shit. Like, honestly, I remember, like, the early 2000s and, like, the late 90s were full of these type of, like, trans jokes, where they were just straight up, like, fucking just bigoted, like, things that just straight up didn't even need to be in these, forms of entertainment. Like, like, I think Ace Ventura was one film. And I also remember Drake and Josh out of all fucking shows. Like, on Nickelodeon even had a scene. I remember YouTube even recommended me out of... that's the only reason why I'm remembering it. It's just because it happened recently. And it was like this, and I think it was Josh Peck. He fucking, like, kissed what was supposed to be a woman. But it was a woman with a very deep voice. It was like... And she said something, and he was just like, wait a minute. And the idea is that she was a trans person who was actually a dude or whatever the fuck, that he kissed and shit. And that's why he wasn't, or she wasn't all grossed out or whatever the fuck, because a normal woman would be all disgusted that, a man just randomly kisses, a girl like that. But because it's a trans woman, oh, I guess it was okay. It's like, what? Like, what the fuck? I mean, you know, so it was just all over the place, you know, and shit. I mean, at least, you know, when I remember looking back at it, at least with the Drake and Josh one, it's like, I honestly thought it was just because, like, Josh legit got, like, a piece of gum that she was chewing in his mouth. And he was, like, grossed out by that, because that was kind of, like, the way to subtly kind of imply that maybe it ain't, I guess. I don't know. It was just, like, it was such a weird-ass little fucking joke. But so are a lot of these weird, like, anti-trans type of jokes anyway. Like, they're just not necessary and just kind of weird and, like kind of just out of place. It's like, why are these here? I mean, it's like, and honestly, it's like, there definitely can be fun little, you know, like, jokes in form of entertainment, because I think, you know, comedy is, you know, a very important thing. But, like, holy shit. Like, I mean, the only way for that, you know, to be truly, like, you know, something that, you know, could really be seen in such society is if trans people are normalized. Like, you have to go for that process first. Like, you have to go, like, I mean, because now, you know, it's like there's, you know, like the LGBT, you know, at least the LGB part of the LGBTQ are, you know, being more normalized now at this point. So, like, a lot of these type of things, even in comedy and shit like that, are being normalized too. At least the ones that, you know, are, you know, spin in a, you know, purposefully hateful way. That's really the point. It's just, you know, not be purposely fucking hateful with shit. It's just like, I mean, you can, you know, have fun little lighthearted jokes about shit, but, like, holy fuck. Like, don't be an actual, like, asshole and a hateful bastard about it.
17. This is a debate between her and Candace Owens on the Dave Rubin Show. And look at the way that Candace Owens disrespects her, doesn't even value and acknowledge her basic human dignity.
I'm not comfortable using the she pronoun, not because it's not anything to be disrespectful, it's just that a lot of people that follow me don't know that Blair is trans, and a lot of people that follow her maybe don't know me, vice versa, and I think that it betrays the audience when you make it sound like this is a petty catfight and there are two girls sitting across from a table, when in fact it is a grown man sitting across from a grown woman who has had a lot of things to say about me when I've never even met you or said negative comment about you. So I just want that to be very clear. Happy to, for the rest of this, yeah, it should be known. We're both adults, you know, you're a grown man.
No, we're definitely adults. I just think it's interesting how you act like you're above the ad hominems and you're above attacking someone, when in reality, you and I both know that the situation is you're using those pronouns and you're saying what you're saying, calling me a grown man.
That's not an attack, that's a fact.
Let me finish that. You're doing that in a way to be passive-aggressive and petty, but in a way that your audience doesn't actually read, because you do have the very hardcore conservative audience, and so they're not really going to read it.
So do you. Oh my god, this is really a conservative circle jerk. Like, oh my, Jesus Christ, it would just be like, you know, it would just be like ganging up on fuck Candace if I was like the host here. Jesus Christ, I'd be like, no, she's a grown woman, fuck off. Like, I mean, Jesus Christ, oh my god, ugh. It's like, it's a fact, you're a grown man, It's like, what? No, like, she's a grown woman. Like, shut up, Candace. Like, oh my god. She's even trying to, like, oh, we're not trying to make it look like some petty cat fight here, you know, but it's just like, you literally are. You're being a petty bitch right now. Like, what the fuck? Really?
No, I don't want them to think that this is a cat fight between two girls. It's not. I'm saying that
it is. It literally is.
It's very important because
it really isn't though. But we can move on because it really isn't about how she dresses.
Me and biology don't care about that. Man. I'm happy to call you.
No, just you do, and your fucking weird bigoted pieces of dumb fucks that, you know, think that way and follow you too. Like, I mean, no, like, oh my god. Not even, like, biology is so far afield from, like, what you fucking think that there's other life and other, like, animals and flora, you know, and fauna too, like, that are all just like, yeah, we don't have, you know, just two biological sexes. We got all sorts of shit going on, fam. Like, I mean, there's, like, you know, multi-sexes going on. Like, some animals can change their sex, you know, depending on, you know, the situation that they happen to be in. If, you know, there's no males or females in the area and they need to reproduce or whatever the fuck. Like, there's animals that can do that shit. There's some that asexually reproduce. There's all sorts of shit. Like, there's hermaphroditical animals. All sorts of shit. Like, biology is so far afield from what the fuck you think, it's not even funny. So shut up.
we can move on from the pronoun thing.
It's like, oh my God, Candace.
Start by calling me Matt. Okay.
You're doing propaganda for people like that, Blair White. That
I mean, honestly, the fact that she just kind of, yeah, I mean, she just there. I mean, she wasn't even taking it there. She's like, oh, yeah, I'm like, you know, you're being passive-aggressive and this and that, but, It's like, yeah, and you're passive-aggressively, and you're, like, passively defending yourself. Like, I mean, what is this shit? You're just sitting there taking it.
I mean, you could be trying to push for tolerance and acceptance, but instead, you want to be their useful idiot. Because I'm one of the good ones. So, they could never treat me bad, except you've already experienced them treating you like shit. And now, because of things that you tweet, saying, oh, well, a 5-year-old can't possibly be trans, even though you know that that's not true, because you've said yourself that you realized that you were trans when you were 5. Now, people are going to point to that. Trans folks will say, oh, well, you know what? My child, they're showing signs that they're trans. My son is putting on a dress. So I know that you can't possibly know that you're trans at 5, so I'm just going to beat the shit out of them. And, you know, I know that this is the right thing to do because Blair White, a trans person, knows better. And she said you can't possibly be 5. So, you know, maybe if I beat my kid, then I could beat the gayness or transness out of him. Like, this is perpetually what conservative LGBTQ plus people are used for, right? They're used to validate homophobic and transphobic beliefs. And those who actually are serving as useful idiots, I have no respect for them. I feel bad for them. I feel bad for people like Blair White. But, you know, she does this to
I don't even know if I really necessarily go that far for myself.
herself.
I definitely don't feel bad for fucking Dave Rubin. I maybe feel bad for JLP. Definitely don't feel bad for Jordan Peterson. Definitely don't feel bad for Blair White. Yeah, I don't really feel bad for these people.
That she decided to try to, you know,
she made her bed and now she has to lay in it, so, I mean, she knows what she
this
did.
trope that we're seeing from conservatives that, you know, this ideology, this woke gender ideology is imposed on kids. But yeah, you know, she got debunked by herself when she on Joe Rogan was honest and talked about how, well, yeah, I actually knew I was trans at a very young age. It wasn't imposed on me. Yeah, we know. So you're a liar. You're basically validating what we all suspected, that you're disingenuous. And maybe it's for clicks, maybe it's for cash. Either way, I don't know how you sleep with yourself at night. Have some self-respect and human dignity. Don't put yourself through this all for clout or a check. Actually challenge their transphobic beliefs. Stop validating them, Blair White. I mean, I can't fathom sleeping.
But how will she make how she make her fucking bucks? How's she gonna be able to do that fucking red pill right wing grift, yo? She won't be able to do that. She didn't do that though. She has to do that. Come on now. It's like, oh my God, Jesus Christ. I mean, it's like that. It's like just, you know, it's just like you don't have to do this shit to make money. You know that, right? But no, it's what they do. It's like, God damn it. What the fuck? Boo. Just be a bunch of sadness. There. Let's see what kind of stuff is available here. Is there any other fun little things? Ooh, I was trying to release a new video earlier. Angst. Well, the thumbnail for the video looks, well, angsty. I'll definitely have to check that out on my off time. I wish I could check that out on my on time, but unfortunately not. Ooh, new police state. The new way private prisons make billions. The new way? Is that literally the name of a corporation? Is that... That can't be the... That cannot be the name of a fucking business. No way. And their private no, hold on. No way. I actually have to, like... Is it? Hold on. If I look up this. Nope, nothing, really? Okay,
We have new ways private prisons are making billions. This is really something. This is a video that needs to be.
Oh, it's just saying the new ways they're doing it. Oh my god. I honestly thought there was, for a minute, I honestly thought there was actually, like, new, like, private business called The New Way. The New Way business, prisons or some shit. It's like, Jesus Christ. Like, I mean, at least how it was, like, a little worded there for a second, and maybe kind of think that for a second. And I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, like, these mega corporations are known for having very dystopian, demonic-sounding names, so...
Because it really highlights just the...
Like, Safeways and Albertsons and other adjacent shit is owned by Cerberus Capital, and it's just like, what? Like the fucking three-headed, like what? It's like, whoa. It's like, okay. Way to sound very dystopian.
Structure you've ever seen in your life, and it's ongoing right now in front of our noses. So let's take a look.
My kid's not here. He's dead. Because of him. He ruined my fucking life.
In 2011, a judge in Pennsylvania was put on trial.
We turn now to the latest news on the so-called Kids for Cash scandal in Pennsylvania, in which judges took
Kids for Cash scandal.
Money in exchange for...
Kids for Cash? What is this, like a child slave racket?
Offenders to for-profit youth jails.
Judge Ciavarella was charged with taking millions of dollars in kickbacks for sending children away for crimes as minor as mocking a teacher online.
He said...
What? Mocking a teacher should be totally 100% okay. Like, that's... Oh my... Okay. Whoa, my god. This is about to get bad, isn't it? Oh, boy. Okay. Kids for Cash. Sending kids to jail, even for as minor as mocking teachers online. Oh my god. Oh my god. America, everybody. America.
Is when you have private prisons. There is now an incentive to profit off of locking people up. And a judge was getting paid by the private prison industry to lock people up over nothing. Mocking a teacher?
That's literally nothing. That's, like, as far as I'm concerned, less than nothing. Like, honestly, I'm not even gonna lie. There's been times where I fucking mocked teachers when I was in school. Like, online and privately. Like, because, yeah, some teachers be fucking whack as fuck. I mean, like, there was teachers like that. I mean, and there's, you know, but at the same time, there was teachers I fucking venerated and loved. But, I mean, I knew, you know, some teachers that were kind of funky and buns when I knew one. Like, and fucking, you know, like, there were some buns-ass teachers. I mean, you know, so it's just like, I mean, what? Yeah, like, honestly, sometimes, yeah, you know, they're gonna get kids like me that might mock a fucking teacher and shit. Because guess what? They're buns as fuck. And we're not gonna like them. Luckily, at least for me, there weren't that many teachers like that. Like, I had way more teachers that I legitimately loved and liked, or at least were pretty neutral about, versus ones that I didn't. So, at least for me, I was, I guess, pretty lucky on that front. But I know, you know, plenty of people that, you know, weren't so lucky, and, you know, and I just know the virtue that there's some buns and stupid and dumbass and wacky ass teachers out there. So it's just like, you gotta leave that, you know, virtue out there. Like, I'll mock goddamn teacher that I've even never had before that's from a different school across the goddamn country for all I give a shit, because they're, you know, some teachers just deserve that because they're just dumb, or they're just whack, or they're an asshole, or they're just, you know, not good at their job and probably shouldn't be a teacher, or whatever the fuck. Like, you know, sometimes, you know, the teacher might, you know, need a little bit of a mocking.
This was a big scandal a little while ago.
I'm coming down to arrest her for making a MySpace page about her vice principal.
The scandal was one of many plaguing an industry.
Whoa, MySpace? Man, we're going back. We're going back on this. Man, this is going on for a while if we're going that far back. MySpace? Damn.
served in private prisons say officials had incentives to keep prisoners there rather than rehabilitating them.
Today, the U.S. imprisons more people, both per capita and in terms of number of people incarcerated, than any other country in the world.
African Americans are being incarcerated at nearly 5 times the rate of white Americans.
We have more African Americans in this country under criminal supervision right now than all of the slaves in 1850.
Look how much taller Cory Booker is compared to Rand Paul.
Oh my god. Rand Paul just looks like he doesn't give a fuck. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, Rand Paul's like, it looks like he dyed his noodle hair a little bit there. Like, he dyed his ramen noodles, and now they look like a very browned rye bread. But he just looks like, I don't give a shit about this. I literally don't care. For-profit private prisons are what I want. I like anarcho-capitalism. Please, why do I have to be here? I was literally, forced to do this because it had to make me look good. Please, end this. But, Jesus, the top of, Rand Paul's heads is literally, the tall, part of his head is literally shoulder height of Cory Booker. Straight up, fucking Cory Booker's 2 heads taller because his, Cory's head is actually, more longer than Rand Paul's head. Rand Paul's head's more, stubbier and rounder. Jesus. Man, Cory Booker's fucking tall. Or is he just, on a platform? What the hell? Is Cory Booker really that tall? Jesus. Either Rand Paul's just that short or Cory Booker's just that tall.
In a step to address racial inequity, President Biden signed an executive order in 2021 banning all private prison contracts by the federal government.
Oh wow, he actually did a thing? Wait, well, I didn't even know that. He did a thing? He did a thing last year? Wow, I never knew that. Wow, well, I wish I knew about that. I don't even want to say cool because that just feels like it's so long ago. Does it matter? Because at this point, I guarantee you, there's probably been new contracts.
From property and off of incarceration.
By the way, I think they actually misstated that. He didn't ban all private prison companies. He banned all private prison companies in contracts with the federal government for a specific kind of prison. I think he left, it was only, some small percentage of the private prisons.
Oh, so it wasn't even, all private prisons. Oh, why do we even have those? The word, the 2 words private prison just next to each other like that. Ugh. It's yeah, let's have a profit motive on keeping people locked up like a bunch of fucking cage animals. Oh my god.
Contracts now. So it's a classic Biden, tweaks around the edges, get the positive press, while not actually addressing the core issue. Anyway, I needed to correct that.
Companies have found ways.
By the way, if you're interested in the specifics on that, I'm not remembering all of them, but just type in secular talk, Biden private prisons, and one of the videos will come up where I explain all the numbers and what percentage of the private prisons were actually shut down, etc., etc.
Okay, so maybe I might have missed that video, so I'm gonna have to look at that at some point, I guess.
To continue profiting off the multi-billion-dollar industry.
As the Trump administration continues to crack down on undocumented immigrants, the majority of them will be sent to detention facilities run by private companies.
This industry has started to shift into what I like to call mass incarceration.
I mean, why are we still talking? Why was the Trump administration just mentioned? We're 2 years into it now.
Angeles County, for example, in the last 6 years has increased the use of electronic monitors by 5,000%.
I don't really like that I have cameras in my house. I don't like being recorded.
So will the private prison
What?
ban be...
Yo. It's one thing to maybe have a monitoring device, around your ankle, whatever the fuck. I'm not even really inherently against those. But cameras set up in your whole fucking house? No. What? Whoa. Yeah, even I feel uncomfortable for that person. Oh my god. I feel very uncomfortable now. My paranoia just spiked, insanely, just on that idea. Oh my god. I would be, oh my god, dude. I mean, if there's, for whatever weird-ass situation where there's, ankle monitoring and camera setup and shit, Jesus Christ, my paranoia would spike so fucking much. Holy shit. Imagine a guy viewing the footage. That's the problem. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. Like, you want, like, okay, like, I'm just gonna be honest. Like, I mean, if, like, whatever camera's in my room, like, half the time they're just gonna see me either sleeping in there or, you know, busting nuts. Like, I'm just gonna be honest. Like, they're not gonna see shit. And yeah, they get a camera in the garage, guess what? They're gonna see me do this. Like, honestly, like, I mean, it's more so, like, the idea of when I'm in my own actual private time is where it gets fucking paranoid, as, you know, as fuck, because it's like, I don't want people watching, unless I have a camera set up myself. Then, I don't care. But, well, I mean, I do, because I want my camera set up. I don't want some other weird-ass motherfucker shit set up. And I'll set it up and do with the footage as I thou wilt, bitch. I mean, it's just like, ugh. Yeah.
Sorry, my food's on. I was in bed. He just woke me up.
Or has it provoked something altogether more sinister?
Well, goddamn. Jesus. Could have gave a warning for that, Vice. I mean,
We must wage what I have called total war against public enemy number one in the United States.
Black people.
Problem of dangerous drugs.
Which is mainly black people and hippies.
In the 80s and 90s...
I am not a crook!
The war on drugs and harsh sentencing policies meant the US prison population skyrocketed.
Last year alone, over 10,000 drug criminals were convicted.
Overcrowding in this
Wow, I love how the second bastard about the war on drugs came up too. Reagan.
Already a problem. 2 to a cell designed for 1.
Private firms stepped in, offering to build more facilities and faster.
I think we'll see the private sector saving the taxpayers.
This guy literally looks like a muffin.
Tremendous amount of money.
But it
I
wasn't
want to bake him at like 425 degrees in the oven for like, you know, an hour and a half, you know, to bake him like an oven. He looked like, you know, a raw oven, you know, a little raw muffin dough. They need to be baked.
Questions are being raised tonight about the wisdom of turning public prisons over to private operators.
It became apparent that, in many cases, profits were prioritized over the care of those housed inside.
Private prisons raise a lot of the same issues that are raised in publicly run facilities. However, these issues are often...
Bran muffin, probably. Ugh. Yeah, probably. Not even a good one, man.
Wow.
Jesus, what the fuck is
In many
this?
cases, their officers are wildly underpaid and not paid benefits.
To save on costs.
Yeah, because when you have a middleman of a private business and shit, they're especially going to do a lot of union busting efforts. I mean, say what you want, but at least, you know, when it comes to a lot of public prisons and public jails and shit, like a lot of the correctional officers are at least unionized. So they actually do get benefits and good pay at the very least. You know, so it's like, at least, you know, I mean, I'd rather, you know, if we're going to have, you know, like, you know, prisons and jails and shit, you know, yeah, I'd want to make sure guards are at least given decent pay benefits. I mean, you know, at the very least, or else no one's going to want to do it. You know, but also our prison systems and our jails shouldn't be, you know, set up the way they are either. You know, so it's like, I mean, there's a lot of fucking issues at play, and having a privatized element into this just poisons everything so much more. It makes everything such a more fundamental problem, and it ties into a major problem of corruption when it comes to police, because then police are incentivized to just go lock people up left and goddamn right, because then they could just, you know, stuff these private prisons, you know, full of fucking people that are unlawfully fucking arrested. You know, so it's just like, I mean, you know, it just continues the reciprocal cycle, and not just that, but accelerates it and puts it on like overdrive and steroids and on the fucking like nitrous and all this other shit, you know, and just, you know, puts it on like, you know, fucking, you know, send that bitch off the Plaid, going ludicrous speed, and just fucking, you know, just like, you know, just, yeah, like letting it go haywire, and all they do is just, you know, letting the money go, you know, making more money left and right.
They offer fewer staff incentives and can struggle to retain employees. On the day of this 2018 riot in New Mexico, staff numbers were under 50%.
Wow.
Oh shit, whoa. Look at this dude.
New Mexico, staff numbers were under 50%.
Let's look at this dude. He's like, hey, what's up, bro? Damn, bro.
Wow. Keys to the entire 40-man cell block and no guards.
Oh, shit.
Take control.
Well, you know, that guy just gained the fucking protection of whoever he just released. That big boy. Dude, hold on. Like, I don't know what's going on there, right? But this guy, he just released this big dude. He's like, boom. And then he just got that big boy, like, boom. Just, like, coming out, like, you know, like, boom, boom. Like, he just got protection right there, dude. That was protection right there. Like, holy shit.
So, look at that. You
Jesus.
Cut costs. You cut...
I mean, fucking hell, man. I mean, honestly, like, you know, these prisons, you know, make so much money off of shit like this because they can get money off the insurance and shit, and plus, then all they can do is like, oh, we'll raise the wages and benefits a little bit, you know, and probably get a bunch of other people in and not have to train them a lot, and then they could just have whatever fucking bullheaded motherfucker is as a prison guard, and they can do whatever abuses and crimes and, you know, and even at worst, even straight up torture they can do to these fucking prisoners, and who's gonna fucking bat an eye? Especially with a private middleman, there's definitely gonna be no accountability to that shit.
Right? That's one way you make more money, because it's for profit. The other way you make more money is to lock people up for more and more things, which is why you've had private prisons and their lobbyists lobby various state governments.
Which also, if you understaff your private prisons, and these riots break out more often to those prisoners get to stay in there longer. Because they're charged with prison riots and charges similar to that type of shit. So, especially if all those cameras set up like they are, all those type of fucking prisoners and shit are basically going to, you know, face longer charges, and thus those prisoners are going to make a lot more fucking money. So, if anything, these private prisons are incentivized to make sure that wages and benefits, you know, for a lot of their fucking guards and shit are good just enough, you know, to make it, you know, just barely staffed, you know, for the people who are just willing to take it. Because there's not much else, you know, when it comes to job offers or whatever the fuck, you know, for their type of line of work. And then, you know, just whenever a riot happens, then they get heavily overwhelmed and shit. And this shit happens. But who keeps making the money off of it? Curious.
Well, make it so that they got locked up for a longer amount of time if they commit 3 felonies, no matter how minor they may be. This is the way the system works. We've now incentivized locking people up for stupid reasons. Again, the war on drugs, Nixon admitted this. Like, you had staffers in his White House admit this, and we've covered it previously, where they said, look, we wanted to target our political opponents. And who are our political opponents? Minority communities and poor whites and hippies. So
like
that's
me.
Why you ban drugs, is you try to criminalize the lifestyle of our
I'm a poor white and a hippie, so I fit in with that bunch.
They've admitted it. They've admitted this. And so it's not about justice. And honestly, what it is a crackdown on freedom. People putting in their body whatever they want to put in their body. They're not hurting anybody else, and they're ruining people's lives over it. That's how they locked up more and more and more people back then. The new way, as they just described, is, and there's still, you know, war on drugs is still ongoing, even though a bunch of states have legalized marijuana. The way they do it now is immigration. So, you know, if you come in the country illegally, I mean, shit, with Title 42, there wasn't even a process. People would just get deported immediately. And you have remain in Mexico as well. That's still in place under Joe Biden. Historic number of deportations under Obama, Trump, and Biden. But one of the things that they do, or that they're doing more and more, is using the private prisons for ICE detention. So it's just a way, it's a ruse, it's a scam to make more money. And it's hilarious.
Well, we're going to have these private prisons and juvenile facilities, you know, basically set up, you know, for a bunch of, you know, Mexican immigrants and a bunch of Haitian immigrants and a bunch of other people. We don't really have enough, you know, detention centers and immigration facilities, so we're just going to lock them all up in private prisons. I see. So Biden's actually legitimately fucking fundamentally worse in different, like in, at least especially considering this, like he's actually worse on immigration than like Trump, and at least especially with this variable. It's like, I don't even think Trump was doing that. Well, maybe I think, you know, he definitely was cracking down on immigration shit, because he's like, oh, they're good, but like fucking Biden's like more disgusting about it because at least he's trying to do this fucking veneer of like, yeah, I'm actually for them and blah blah blah, and tries to like, you know, win their vote, and then stabs them in the back, and then, you know, we'll even let private prisons, you know, lock them up left and right and shit, you know, for ICE detention. It's like, man, what a fucking parasite piece of dementia-addled shit. Like, ugh. It's like, it's not, yeah, it's bad enough that you just gotta, you know, detain them and shit, and, you know, deport them left and right, but no, let's put them in private prisons too.
Why? Because it's still funded by taxpayers. We are just now funding, instead of a public institution, now you're funding a private institution, and they're allowed to operate with a bigger profit margin. They're allowed to, just a profit margin, because public prisons don't have a profit margin. They're allowed to operate with a profit margin, and like they're describing, what do? You cut back on staff, you cut back on overhead costs to make more money, and you try to find new, innovative ways to lock people up and lock them up for longer amounts of time, because the more butts are in beds, the more money you make.
Only two ways to make.
I mean, especially if you're fucking, you know, having understaffing issues, and depending on how violent, you know, or how many violent offenders are in your private prison, have a lot more likelihood for prison riots to start. That means that you're going to have those people in there for far longer if they're involved in any of that. So, it's just like, I mean, when it comes to, you know, some of these different fucking things, it's like, it all just plays a role in the fat cats that run these fucking things just making more and more goddamn money over it. And it's like, Jesus, I mean, there just needs to be a nationalization of a lot of different industries, but the fact that, like, just this kind of popped up, just, it needs to just be absolutely abolished. Like, this is something that needs to kind of get re-nationalized, basically, because now it's only partially so. I mean, it's like, god damn it. Honestly, like, America's, like, law enforcement was never even good ever. Like, honestly, there was never a time where, like, America's, like, law was even really, like, great. Like, because basically every town just basically had the equivalent of just like, yeah, we got a sheriff, and that could basically be whoever we decide is, like, you know, good enough to do law enforcement, I guess. And whoever they decide is going to be their deputies. It's like, oh, okay. Wow, what a great way to enact law and order in a fucking town. It's like just basically on the fucking will if the sheriff's actually kind of like good enough or not.
One is to increase your revenues, and one is to decrease your expenses. And in the case of private prisons, increasing revenues means more bodies behind bars, and decreasing expenses means lower care and quality care for those people who are in your custody.
When Joe Biden became president in 2020, many prison reform advocates were hopeful.
The dream of justice for all will be deferred no longer.
Biden promised criminal justice reform, and his directive 6 days in seemed a step in the right direction.
He says he's pulling America out of the private prison business. It's a break with what the Trump administration had done.
However, for decades, the private prison industry has been finding other ways to fill empty beds.
After just a short time of the complex sitting vacant, it has a new tenant, Immigration and Customs Enforcement.
What is happening is that these private prison industries...
Man, I want to see ICE kicked out of fucking Portland so bad, just because it's on my mind. I remember some of the first fucking protests in 2020 specifically that happened, well, in 2021 actually, like at the very early parts of it, when like fucking just before Biden was inaugurated, a lot of fucking protests, or actually even just after it, when Biden was just enacted in office, like there was different protests against ICE and shit. Like, I mean, and honestly, it's like, it's funny how it's basically the same shit, different day with a lot of this type of shit and these type of motherfuckers, because, like, I mean, you know, they're, you know, locking people up left and right, and there's, like, an ICE detention facility, or at least an ICE facility in fucking Portland, which, honestly, that boggles my brain. And it's just like, and it's like, yeah, you know, I wonder why they have such an incentive, you know, when it comes to this type of shit, you know, it's like, and considering how they react basically just the same under Biden's administration, you know, in comparison to Trump, but, you know, the harm reduction, though. It's like, at this point, especially in the very recent years, like, I've seen enough harm reduction to know that's just a bunch of fucking, you know, like, fluffer bullshit to try to, you know, get me hard, you know, for the, you know, like, voting process and shit every goddamn electoral cycle. It's like, give me a goddamn break. I think that's gonna be fucking selling me at this point. So like, you're gonna need a lot more than that to fucking start fluffing me up.
And filling these same beds with people in immigration detention.
There you go. There you go. Alright. This goes on. You guys get the gist of it. The primary function was the war on drugs, criminal...
Oh, Kyle, you're soft-hearted. Man, it's making me want to find it now, because honestly, it's just like, I'm okay. I want to get pissed. I mean, you know what? Hold on. How far is he in it? 451? What video is this? Oh my god, he's just barely, like, hiding the... I'll probably be able to find it. Vice. Yeah. Well, who the fuck is that dude, and why does his head why does he look alien? Jesus. Here, where is this? Probably the... I'm assuming this is gonna be a recent thing, right? Oh, here he is. Here it is. Okay.
In the 1980s, 1990s, we saw the war on drugs. Now we're changing the laws as it pertains to marijuana. We're now seeing these prisons being built by immigrants.
80% of undocumented immigrants are being held inside privately run facilities, generating over $1 billion for the two largest prison companies in 2020.
And what do the average working people that also include a lot of these fucking immigrants get? Fucking nothing. Oh, but these guys get billions in profits. Elon Musk gets, you know, fucking billions and billions in fucking profits. And fucking... It's... Oh my god. I mean, can we just bring out the Minecraft tools, you know, for the fucking Roblox servers? And can we just Grand Theft Auto these fucking redacteds already? Like, Jesus goddamn motherfucker. See, I see why Kyle stopped himself. I see why he stopped himself, because it's already boiling up to a simmer. Oh god. It's already boiling into a simmer. Jeez. Oh,
Increased immigration beds by over 50% in 4 years. And what we saw was the administration handed out sweetheart deals to private prison companies.
There's an incredible, I would say, financial incentive not to reduce incarceration.
what is all that shit? Hold on.
Handed out
What the fuck was all that?
to private
incentive not to reduce. There's an incredible, I would.
Is that just like tinfoil? So like, here, Mexican children, tinfoil. Like, what is this shit? Is that straight up just like random tinfoil or something? Like, what the fuck? It's like, what is this? Like, what? That literally just looks like tinfoil or something.
Financial incentive not to.
I think that is. I think that's straight up fucking tinfoil. It's like, here, have tinfoil to fucking sleep on. It's like, are we... Okay, redacted, Minecraft server, get the Minecraft tools that we can craft in Minecraft, and we can Roblox the server out of these sons of bitches, like, Oh my god.
But to change the population.
And changing the population hasn't changed the problems, which range from abuse of solitary to medical neglect. Women in this privately run Georgia detention center accused the gynecologist of carrying out surgeries on them without their consent.
Oh, like the forced vasectomies and shit that were going on. I think that was definitely, I think, under Trump's administration.
Then closed under Biden.
At what point did you
Or their hysterectomies, not vasectomies.
realize that you had had surgery?
When I woke up and I saw the incisions, it turns out that I didn't need the procedure that was performed.
The tragedies that we see, particularly in facilities that are run by private prison companies, means death. It means unnecessary sickness and illness.
Their inactions are responsible for Carlos's death.
What these private prison companies have in mind, of course, are their bottom line, and the abuses and the heartbreaks and the tragedies that we see
Because it's always been about the fucking profit motive.
are the unfortunate result of that.
Expanding immigration services is a new source of income for private companies, but there are others too.
Many of the for-profit firms that manage prisons and detention centers have also diversified.
The reality is that private interests have permeated our correctional carceral system across the country.
Because it's always been about like the expansion and maximization of the fucking private sector, especially when it comes to the law enforcement and prison industry. So that's why so much of like law and order and all this other shit so prominent, especially on the right, because so much of them are backed by the lobbyists that fucking back these motherfuckers. I can see why at this point, he was probably cutting the gist of it, because, like, Jesus Christ, especially considering, this type of shit. Like, I'm not, fucking surprised one way or another by it, and considering how it's just like, oh, we're gonna, cut back on a lot of these private prisons, Jack. No malarkey. But yet, continuously and seem to just find ourselves being more and more in bed with the private prisons and the private prison industry, and it's just like weird. Like the prison industrial complex seems to continue to go stronger, but weird. We're supposed to be you're strangely against them, huh? Odd. It's as if you're not actually against them in the first place. You're just saying that to make sure that you ensure people are swindled to vote for you, so you get more power, fucking more money to ensure that your private CEOs and your industrial complexes get more money and more profit and more at the end of the bargain, and everyone else at the bottom gets less and less. Go figure. So go, little baby. Oh, look at you. You got a little ear flipped over. I want to flip over your other ear. Aw, he's so cute. He's a cute little baby. You look like a little sleepy thing. You look so sleepy. Aw, you look so cute. Just a cute little thing. Yes, indeed. Oh, what a little sweet boy. Well, a little sweet boy. Alright. Is the other ram shit? Yeah, so maybe so. Not really too much on cows and things. He didn't really upload too much else outside of those things, it looks like. But, yeah. Well, it's almost 1 in the morning. I know in about like 10 hours I probably gotta get up and go for a fun little venture. Go up to Seattle, see a concert, so I'll most likely definitely be doing that type of shit here pretty soon, so I think I'll probably get this last bowl smoked up and call it good. Man, going to see Rollerball and double dip that shit, it's definitely going to be pretty fucking fun. Oh, look off. What goes the bubble? He's so cute. Anyway, I'll call it good, so. Peace out, and of course, I'll be back